Guys, it's Fabio, and in this trader interview series, we talk to some of the most profitable traders out there so that you can learn exactly what their journey into becoming a profitable trader was like, how they trade, and how they think. The trader who I'm speaking with today made over $100,000 in just 6 months using this one simple strategy, which is supply and demand. And he went as far as making $16,000 in one single week. He trades, as far as I know, every single FX pair out there. So let's get into it and find out more about today's guest. So let's kick it off with a simple question. Rutger, can you maybe tell me your name, your age, and your current location?
So my name is Rutger. I'm 24 years old and I'm based in Amsterdam.
Fantastic. And how long have you been trading for?
So I think I started trading in 2020, so that's about 5 years.
Wow, that's a pretty long time. So what originally got you into trading? Was it Telegram signal groups like most traders out there, YouTube videos, or the social media influencers on Instagram, X, maybe on Facebook?
No, so it was actually because of the Corona lockdown. So of course everything closed down. I was locked up in my student room, and yeah, I was just thinking to myself like, okay, how can I use this period of lockdown where there's a lot of time to learn a new high income skill? What can I learn and how can I use this time productively? So did some research on the internet and then I found out about trading, and yeah, I fell in love ever since.
Fantastic. So it's been quite the journey so far, 5 years into the route, and now you're obviously quite a successful trader. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on here. But what has that journey looked like? Let's talk a little bit more about those early days. What was it like back then? Obviously, you're not making any money with trading, but it is a big passion of yours. Can you maybe
Mhm.
run the people through like what was the process of actually learning how to trade?
Yeah, so it was a tough journey. It took me some time to get profitable, but especially in the early years, I was just yeah, motivated to learn something. And I think I started off just analyzing on MetaTrader, doing one-to-one risk to rewards on GJ, and drawing some lines. And it's, drawing in MetaTrader is pretty stubborn. So yeah, it took a while to find out about TradingView, and then on the TradingView, I started trading also really low time frame, like really big risk to rewards. But then you quickly find out that with a really high risk to reward, there comes a low win rate, and a low win rate can really weigh heavy on your psychology, and especially if you lose a lot of trades in a row, you will start to think different in most traders do. So that was a big struggle to overcome. And through the years, I switched more to a higher time frame approach, lower risk to reward, more research about the markets. And my current style is more, yeah, fundamental based and going for risk to rewards between 2 and 3.
Fantastic. So we're already diving a little bit into risk to reward and the way that you trade. But I want to talk a little bit again about those early days. Like, what would you say is the biggest mistake that held you back the most from, let's say, making more progress? Obviously, let's say 5 years into the journey, you've pretty much seen it all. You know what really is holding traders back. Like, what was that for yourself like? Was it, let's say, FOMO? Was it your mindset? What was holding you back in those early days and preventing you from becoming profitable?
So for the first 2 years, I only traded demo, and I did some like 10K pro firm challenges. I blew up a lot. Of course, I had to find out about like risk models and just trying stuff. But like if you trade demo for months and you don't see any progress, then it can be really unmotivating. On the other hand, you prevent yourself from losing unnecessary money. So yeah, I was just trading demo a lot, and then after 2 to 3 years, I started entering the prop game. I think I blew up 10 accounts before I passed one, and I can remember this as the day of yesterday. But I had my first 10K funded account, and I think it was on a Friday, and it was an NFP day. So I put in a UJ limit, but I was trading multiple challenges as well, and then I forgot, because this was still on computer, I forgot that I had put in a UJ limit on my fresh funded account. And then when the NFP hit, it was bearish for the dollar, so UJ gapped like insanely down, and I put like 2% risk at the time on my funded, which is way too much. and I instantly blew the funded. So within 3 or 4 hours of getting my first funded account, I blew it up. And I still remember this was like a really big setback for me. But yeah, I had to learn it the hard way, and yeah, we've come a far way since then. So fortunately
Incredible, man.
recovered that.
That's crazy. Trading NFP is never a good idea, guys. So, at what point did the things then turn around for you? Like, what caused that, let's say, that mindset shift or that shift in overall success from indeed blowing those accounts on a UJ NFP trade into becoming consistently profitable?
So first of all, I had been like adjusting my strategy a lot through the years, but we know strategy hopping is not the most effective thing to do. Also, I had needed like a really solid risk plan for trading the prop firms. Like basically you're a company and you have like you have turnover, which is the payouts, and you have cost, which is the cost of the challenges. And of course, for a business to be profitable, you need to make more revenue than cost, and then you end up with a net profit. And once you start seeing the prop firm game like this, and you start acting and trading like a company with a plan, yeah, you're your own boss, of course. So you're showing up for yourself. And when I executed this really consistently and I stick to the same strategy over and over and over again, yeah, I started seeing my first results. And then I just stick to that.
Interesting. So it sounds like you have some kind of systematic process in place to trade with those prop firm accounts. And that for you was the overall turning point, treating that prop firm trading
Hmm.
like a business and not just like another trading account. Interesting. I think we need to dive a little bit more into that because what does that look like actually in regards to like let's say making revenue and having costs? What's the kind of strategy that you use on those prop firm accounts?
Yeah, so if you think like it, okay, I want like a certain pass rate on challenges. So let's say you have a 40% pass rate. If you buy 10 accounts, for example, and you pass four, that means you're left with a net result of four funded accounts of any size. It depends, of course, what challenge size you buy. But let's say you buy for 10 100K accounts, and this costs you 3.5K, but you end up with 400K of funding, then only 1% payout on all of them would mean that you made back your initial investment. But then if your goal is to keep this funded account, you keep your risk in check and you trade consistently, yeah, there's of course a far bigger reward or turnover you can get from those accounts compared to the initial investment of 10 accounts you made in this case. Therefore, treating it as a business.
Okay, fantastic. Well, that's clear. And since then, how many payouts have you had with this prop firm model?
So I think in my lifetime of trading, I did over $100,000 in prop firm payouts, and the highlight was for me last year when I think I had 600K of funded accounts trading it at the same time, and I took a fundamental Euro GBP short. Yeah, which was fundamentally based, and then the technicals confirmed the trade even more. So this was a really high conviction play for me, clean execution, stick to the three risk to reward, and yeah, I just saw all the accounts, yeah, flowing in profit. So that was definitely my biggest performance so far.
Fantastic, man. I guess that's what you look forward to when you start trading on those prop firm accounts, right? It's huge.
100%.
So now that you found what actually works for yourself, let's talk about how you actually trade. I think that's what most people are interested in, obviously. So what markets are you focused on and how would you describe your trading style?
Yeah, so like you mentioned earlier, I like to trade all the forex pairs because I'm invested in all the major economies, all the G10 economies and their currencies. So when you read about them, yeah, you can form a bias, of course. Next to that, yeah, we analyze all the data, all the underlying data, and yeah, of course, I love technicals. So when you combine them and you see this alignment, it's just basically stacking some themes or confluences together, and then you get like an overall trading idea and a bias, and you just trade that bias.
So if you would have to describe your trading strategy in 30 seconds, it would be a combination of both fundamentals and technicals.
Yeah,
And
100%.
what are the confluences that you use?
So we look at market structure, basic supply and demand, liquidity highs and lows, a bit of order flow, and we use the fractal entry model, which is just an aggressive form of structure to confirm that there is a reversal happening inside the markets.
Okay, interesting. And you trade these on all FX pairs, or do you also use it, for example, on crypto, on commodities, on indices?
Yeah, so I recently had really good US oil trade, and you see, like, if your strategy works and your fundamentals are on point, you can trade a lot. Of course, every asset class has some different type of price action. You can have a preference, of course, but yeah, I do really like also the price action of the commodities and some European stock indices as well.
And on what time frame do you trade this strategy?
So my main execution time frame would be 4 hour and 1 hour. The reason being is, yeah, that just really works for me. I don't have to check the charts as often. I personally believe there's still a lot of noise on the 15-minute. I saw some bad success in the past trading the 15 minutes, so I prefer to stick to the higher time frames. And then, of course, I use the weekly and daily time frame for overall direction of my trade.
Now, a lot of traders say because you trade the higher time frame, you don't get that many setups every single week. You need to be extremely patient. Is this true? How many setups on average per week do you get with swing trading using the 4 hour?
Yeah, so obviously you can increase this by looking at more pairs. This comes at a cost because when looking at more pairs, there you have a chance, of course, that you will miss setups. So you really have to dial in your routine and your way of analyzing. Otherwise, of course, on the 4 hour, if you just trade one pair, it's logical if there's like 16 times as less candles printed. If you compare the 4 hour to the 50-minute, of course, there's going to be less setups. But then if you increase the amount of pairs or asset classes you look at, yeah, obviously there's going to be more setups to trade. And I would say I would take around 2 to 4 setups per week at max.
All right, crystal clear. Now, let's get into the good stuff, the actual strategy. Can you maybe walk us through a recent trade that you took, explain the overall entry model, the context around the trading setup itself, and yeah, the profit that you made?
Okay, guys, so this is a UJ long setup I recently took to pass my 200K challenge, and just breaking it down here for you guys. Obviously, I take into account the fundamentals, and I was reading an article about that there were already a lot of positives priced in for the yen, but there was still some uncertainty around the election outcome, and some other and about the yields, I think. So therefore, I was betting on yen shorts, and then I wanted to trade that against a strong currency, and in this case, this was the dollar because the dollar had still a lot of room for upside, and there was, of course, a trade deal as well boosting that dollar, since the dollar is more of like a risk on currency rather than a risk off like it was in the past. So when we look at market structure here, you can see we had a 4 hour swing bullish market, and we had a retracement into this blue line, which is the premium versus discount. Everything below the blue line being discount prices, and therefore being a good entry point to look for new longs. We saw this high probability demand zone, which is this sell before the buy, which took liquidity underneath this low, which broke the 4 hour swing high. And we left this liquidity low as well, and we took that out. We also took some early buyers here. So we saw the market pushing up twice, liquidating them both. And then we saw this 4 hour fractal break, this blue, purple line you can see here. And that was for me the final confluence to go long in this case. And we had this perfect trending market where we had the retracement, we had the confirmations, and then we saw a new impulse. So you can see impulse, pullback, and then a new perfect impulse. So yeah, this was a perfect trade for my checklist, for my fundamental confluences, and just perfectly executed. And this led to passing my 200K challenge. So yeah, really happy about this trade.
Yeah, a really clean trade, Rutger. What I'd love to ask you is, how do you define your stop loss and your take profit on a trade like this?
Yeah, so if I go into replay modus here, you can see that before we saw the break, you can see this was the current fractal high. I put my buy stop on the current fractal high break because as soon as this fractal high breaks, I had all the confluences for the trade. And in this case, I put my stop loss underneath the current fractal low, which then of course became the fractal low once this broke. And you can see how perfect that played out when I played a price and yeah, just continued. And there was even a scale impossibility here on the 1 hour. This is also the reason why I like to trade the 1 hour, because you can see if I again put this in replay mode, we took liquidity into the demand zone and then there was a second entry possibility. Again, buy stop on the current fractal high, stop loss underneath the current fractal low, and boom, there you go. Another easy 3R on UJ.
Amazing trades, man. And for those who do not know what fractal structure is or what indicators you use, because this is obviously an indicator, what indicators do you use? And maybe you can also highlight what fractal structure is.
Yeah, so I use a set of indicators. I like to separate the weeks and days so I know where we're at for the week, because I like to look at weekly cycles together with the weekly open, for example. The daily, weekly, and monthly open can be strong indicators as well. For example, on Euro USD, we saw this perfect monthly open tap, and then we had this crazy rally to the downside. So I like to use the opens as well. Then the checklist, of course. So I like to remind myself of the confluences I'm trading, so I'm not missing anything. And yeah, the Asian session range highlighting the market sessions. So you can see, for example, in this case, we had a beautiful liquidation of the Asian session range and then the reversal into London and the expansion into New York. So yeah, these kind of AMD setups using the market sessions are a good extra confluences as well, and it helps you time the trades.
This is how you do a trade breakdown, Rutger. Thank you so much. Fantastic, extremely valuable, and I thank you for sharing that. Now, let's talk about risk. How do you manage your trades once you're in? Let's say, do you manage it based on what you feel? Do you place your stop loss at a certain level? Do you skill out profits? How does it work? Do you trail the stop loss?
Yeah, so I don't like to manage too much because yeah, the intraday noise, yeah, there can be intraday noise. So what I often have experienced is that like a trade, once you have entered it, it goes a bit into profit, then it goes underneath your entry again, and then ends up flying to your TP. Yeah, this can be an emotional hit, so I'd rather not manage too much. However, with the current market volatility, once we reach like around 2R and let's say my target is 3R and we take some major liquidity or we hit like a major zone, then I like to move my stop loss underneath the order flow or underneath a significant fractal which I want to see hold. Why? Because if that breaks, the probability of the trade fully reversing then is higher for me. So therefore, I manage the stop loss to that. But in general, not managing too much because I don't want to be, I don't want to get hit by the intraday noise and just let
Yeah.
the trade play out. As long as my fundamentals are the same, if the trade is still valid, then I think managing can also be like emotion driven, and that's what I want to prevent. So
Yeah,
I
I
like
think that's
to.
also the benefit of swing trading, right? That you don't have to
Mhm,
engage with the position all the time, and that you can just let
mhm,
the position run. But obviously, this also comes at a
definitely.
cost because sometimes you're going to be having to hold these trades during the news, right? Or over the weekends. Like, how do you manage that emotionally wise?
Yeah, it's just like if you have a strong fundamental case for your trade, and if that doesn't change much, then you just have to be patient. And yeah, patience is of course a big thing in trading. So yeah, if you just stick to that plan and to that idea, and you know there can be pullbacks, but if the case doesn't change, then of course it's good to hold. If there is like a very strong reversal or opposite bias suddenly, so let's say you're in a risk on trade and then boom, a rocket hits Iran and some risk off sentiments returns in the market, yeah, then of course it's logical to pull a trigger and maybe manage or close a trade because of that sentiment shift, but then you have a strong case for it.
Yeah. Okay, well, fantastic. And for anybody interested out there in learning more about fundamentals, how would you say they can start with that? Because obviously in the trading space, there are so many different places where people can learn more about the technicals. But I hear you talking a lot about the fundamentals. I think people watching this will also have the question like, hey, where do I start learning about those fundamentals? Because it plays such a large part in your trading strategy, and obviously it's very profitable and successful. Where can these people start learning about it?
Yeah, so I definitely would start reading some relevant sources like Bloomberg, ING, Reuters. I think they are very good. And we've built our own fundamental platform called foxfundamentals.com. There you will find all the scores for all the currencies backed by underlying data. And you will also have an article feed pushing all the relevant articles from the sources I mentioned earlier. So yeah, definitely check out the platform and check out the Trading Academy's updates channels for fundamental updates on spot basically.
Yeah, good point, guys. So make sure to join the free Discord. Link is in the description of this video. There, pretty much all the traders who come on here, like Rutger himself, have an update channel where they update you on the most relevant trade setups, what's going on in the world, and what positions they are, most of the time in. Now, all of that's important, Rutger, but most traders say that the hardest part isn't the strategy itself. It's obviously the psychology. So how did you develop the discipline and the mindset to actually follow your rules?
Very good question. So I think at some point in trading, like if you've lost it all basically, then at some point you you become resilient. You become like cold, I would say. Um, there's like and of course if you scale capital, there is going to be like more emotion involved. But having a mentor who guides you through this process and who you can discuss to is really helpful, as well as just journaling and just talking to yourself, writing things down. Like if you want to close a trade really bad, but you don't, it's not like the plan. You can just write it down, like write it down and just look at it. Like, okay, I want to close this trade, but can I explain to myself why? And
Yeah.
then you will see the emotion is coming through. But like when you think rationally and when you write this down and you look at yourself like, okay, this is what I want to do, but this is actually what the best thing to do, then you will see that that's just the emotion taking over and you shouldn't take action based on emotion, only
Great
rational
explanation. Great
decisions.
explanation. And what was your worst psychological pattern that you had in trading?
So yeah, so not sticking to the risk plan. I think this is also has to do with a little bit of greed. So I think at some point in time, I took a little bit too much risk on my funded accounts, and therefore I unnecessarily lost a couple of funded accounts. Of course, I recovered them, but yeah, it was just unnecessary, and the greed just took over. While now I have a totally different mindset of like, okay, when I pass a funded account, the main goal should always be to preserve that account, and then the slow payouts will come rather than I have to force this payout, because then in the end you will force big drawdowns and you end up possibly losing the account unnecessary. So that's
Yeah.
a big mindset shift I had to make, but this has helped me a lot so far.
And any simple tricks that can help people, let's say, have their emotions, have their psychology under control. For example, do you journal your trades, track your entire win rate, the emotions, the mistakes? Do you write it down in a journal, or what's the process look like? Yeah, for you.
Yeah, so I do, and I think this is very valuable because I've also had a period where I didn't do it, and I feel like I didn't learn as much about myself, and therefore I was just lacking progress. So now that I'm doing it consistently again, and I have done for the past 1.5 years, I feel like you can you can really learn about yourself. Like, okay, why did I take this decision? I'm really like
Yeah.
digging deep, and I like to do this in the weekends and just writing about it and thinking about it. And then, for example, this morning I went on a run, and then just without music, anything, and you just run, and then suddenly you get like random thoughts you were thinking about, like, and by chance I had this thought about this loss I took, and I was like, now I know like what I was thinking, and I found like a solution for myself. So yeah, I think that really can help. Just also clearing your mind because trading can be really intense. So.
Well said. And is there any specific routine? You said running in the morning. Is there any specific routine that you would say to traders, hey, stick to this? It will definitely help you become a better trader. Like, for example, waking up, going on a run, no screen time, and then taking a cold shower, or is there anything else?
For example, well, I don't say like you have to be like super resilient and I'm telling you to like run every morning at 7 a.m. No, I think that's not sustainable either. But like having like a good morning routine where you wake up, you do your things, you get ready, and you don't look at your phone too quick. And yeah, you just open the laptop, you get your coffee, and you open the charts, you put on some rainforest music or something, and you just get in the flow. That concentration and getting in that flow state can really help you like analyze the charts properly, making proper decisions. And then, for example, if you only trade London Open and you do this in this focused state of mind, yeah, maybe you will see great results. So, or you make a good plan for the day, which you can trade off for the rest of the day, for example, in the New York session or whatever.
Man, that's powerful. It's so true. Mindset is really everything. And yeah, thanks for all of those tips. So, for someone watching right now who is struggling, who might be in a dark place, who has burnt a lot of accounts with these prop firms, what is your number one piece of advice?
So, my number one piece of advice would be like, mm, keep believing in it, stay consistent. It also took me 4 years to really get my trading dialed in, to get my strategy dialed in, to get my focus dialed in, like everything. But then in the fifth year, it paid off massively. So yeah, just keep believing, keep putting in the work, and yeah, you will see success eventually. However, I think in the right environment, you can have like a faster possible you could possibly have faster results if you're around the good people who motivate you, who help you, who guide you. So yeah, definitely look for the right environment because trading can be lonely as well.
Fantastic. A very beautiful message. I think something good to add there, and I heard it from a different trader once. He said, in my fourth year of trading, I made the same amount of money in 1 month as I made in all of those previous 4 years altogether. So it just shows like success is really exponential in trading, and you just have to keep and stick to that belief. Rutger, I want to thank you so much for being on here today. I think an extremely valuable interview with yourself, with a lot of good golden nuggets, especially obviously also the trade breakdown on UJ. That will help a lot of traders, but also from a psychological perspective and yeah, what your trading strategy looks like. I think a lot of people can learn from this. So thank you again for being here and sharing your story. I want to thank everybody for watching again this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comment section what you want to see. What questions do you want answered? Let us know. Make sure to join the free Discord server in the description of this video, as that is where Rutger is active every single day sharing all of his setups. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.